All right, so here we have our Lakewood Kmart Robin's Egg Blue P-223, or some people say K-223. Um, and just always love the colors of these. Love that it was store branded. The irony is, if this was 1985, Walmart could have done this because their colors aren't that different, but they never did. All right, so today this thing needs a light cleaning, but more importantly, we're gonna try to oil it, but we're gonna experiment with trying to run the Zoom Spout through the hub to the oil port on the front. Not sure if anyone's tried this before, and so we are going to give it a shot. All right, so let's get going here with this. Maybe I can give some background on this fan. I think I've owned this fan since 2008, 2009. And I've done a video on this particular fan. And the video that I've done talks about what has happened to this fan. This fan, aside from the yellowing on the grills, which is how I kind of acquired it, in the cabinet, the finish isn't perfect at all, but try to clean it and wax it and whatnot. But it's one of those examples of, it's not a museum piece. This side, there's no broken slats, but there is clearly yellowing and clearly cracking where the screw mounts into the cabinet, which we have to be careful of. And on the rear of it, and that's where in that video on this fan, I get into the story of, this is kind of like first world problems, so take it with a grain of salt. This was in I believe my daughter's window, and the cleaning people came, who are, let's just say, they've been known to break things. They broke a lamp in my room, and they don't tell you. They just kind of hold it back together, so when you touch it, it all falls apart. That being said, this had an extension cord on it, because sometimes when we would have it out of the window, we would put it in the hallway to pull the air conditioning down the hallway. So instead of taking the extension cord on and off, when we put it in the window, just tuck the extension cord away neatly. And somehow, some way, I don't know if their vacuum caught it or whatever, they ripped the fan out of the window. And you could see what it did to the grill there on the left. This grill was perfect on both sides until that happened. And I get into it in the video about it. So it is no longer perfect. And not that it was perfect to begin with, but the grill, in terms of slats being broken, was in good shape. So this is a case of where, again, it's not a museum piece, so I'm okay with running it. I do like to run it, when I do run it, keep it out of the sun. It's kind of like how with my vintage fans, don't like to keep them prolonged in the sun. I don't really care about newer Lascos or anything like that. Who knows, 20 years from now, we might be like, why did we run that Lasco in the sun? But, I have no issue running it. And these things, really, my feeling is, they are so durable. These, out of this generation of box fan, I think these were the most durable because of the oil ports. So if you have half a brain and know what you're doing, you could just, not even clean it, just put a few drops of oil in there. It's like your car, people don't wash their cars, but they change the oil. I mean, if you don't wash your car, it might eventually rust, but it's like you change the oil, that's the basis for everything. And so in this case, if you just put a few drops in, somewhere around 3 to 5 drops, you're golden. I have learned the hard way that it is possible to over oil fans on a, not the fourth gen, but the 200i, 20i, whatever it's called, that still has oil ports. I would oil it every season. And at one point I went to take off the blades and there was almost sludge built up. So I learned the hard way not to do that. All right, so he just about has the grills off. I am going to lightly clean them because they're fragile. That's okay. I'm going to lightly clean them because they're fragile. Not super brittle. I've had fans who, if you blow on them, they're so sun damaged that the grill just disintegrates in your hand. But I'm going to give it just a light cleaning. Meanwhile, he's going to wipe down the fan. It should take only a couple minutes to wipe down. And then we're going to oil it. Or we could wax it and oil it. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some dirt on the blades. I mean, I did use it this summer a bit, so it's good to get them all cleaned up. All right, I will step out and wash the grills. He's going to oil that. So, as we're working on this other fan back over here, much like I said with that one, because we don't have a lot of sunlight right now, just bring them in, run them air dry. Sometimes, I can't see me because I'm behind camera, but kind of wave them a little bit in the air to get the loose water off of them. So we're gonna put a little wax on that after he cleans it down. Normally I use, talked about this in other videos, normally I use, not that turtle wax is a bad wax or anything like that. I would wax my car with it. Typically for my vehicles I use Meguiar's, right? And I usually keep a bottle of turtle wax around for my lawnmowers, for fans, for projects, right, that I want to put a little wax on. I must have it at my other location, or it's in the back of one of my cars. I must, yeah. So anyway, we don't have it handy. I don't think I ran out. But, so, Big Blue here is getting the good wax, the Meguiar's wax. And I noticed there's some dirt here we have to get off. I'll help you with that. Did you clean the blades? No. Okay, well, we gotta do that. Alright. We have to get that's actually the dirtiest part of this fan, is the blades. And it's weird how that happens. Like, the grills themselves weren't bad at all. I didn't really pound it with the hose. I just gave it a light, kind of like a light hosing. And then that worked out pretty well because, as I talked about, those are a little fragile. This is messy here. So then you just want to clean this off. That looks pretty good. Let me just check the backside. And then I'll try to get that out of there. Normally I recommend doing all the cleaning part first, but we didn't go in that order. blades, you'll stick a coat of wax on both sides of the blades. Alright. Okay, we're good. And you know, I don't service like all my fans every year because clearly I don't use them all, and if I do, maybe I'll use one just kind of as a novelty a little bit and then put it away. The ones that are like in regular service that like you basically pop in the window and run them all summer long, those are the ones I really service. But still, I don't even oil those every single year. I will pay attention, as I talked about my experience with one of the Lakewoods, that I was over oiling it because it was so easy that the blades got to the point where they just slid on and off pretty easily. So I just pull them on, pull them off, and just hit the oil port, and it was too much. I should have, like, even if I did it every other year, every few years. And that Lakewood, which I still have, I'm starting to get when I put it on high, get a hum on the motor. So that's a project which I don't have in the garage right now. Did you happen to get the hub of the motor?
No.
Should be enough wax on there. How about the support bars?
No.
Okay, just want to get that. All right. Okay, so the waxing of this is done. So next step is oil. So what we're going to attempt to do, or what he's going to attempt to do, well, the back of the motor is easiest, so we'll start with that first. And you know, you can put 3 to 5 drops. That's all you need. And then what I like to do is, after I do that, just kind of spin the blades a little bit so it works it in. I've removed blades on various different fans over the years, and I gotta say, pulling them off a Lakewood is the hardest for me. I've watched guys on YouTube do it where they lay the cabinet on the floor and they do it, but they time lapse the video where like they're working on it, and all of a sudden, like you see the video kind of like stop and start again, and they're like, oh, after some work, I got it off. I would like to see somebody actually from start to finish with the video pull the blades on and off. All right, so he's gonna give this a shot. Now that Zoom Spout straw comes out a little bit further. Yeah. Can you see it in here?
Yes, I can.
Oh. This fan will be very happy. So like there's some air in your line. All right, so what we will do is we will allow for the grills to dry, and then we will come back and show you everything finished and start up the fan. All right, the conclusion of the Lakewood video, just to recap, we cleaned it. We took the grills off, cleaned the grills, let them dry. They are now dry. We cleaned the blades, if you recall. While doing that, we also put a nice little coat of wax on it. And then lastly, we oiled through the oil port, just a few drops. And note to anyone servicing one of these Lakewoods that have the cutout openings on the hub, you absolutely can, if you're using Zoom Spout, you could, the little hose, or the tube I should say, will line up at the oil port through the opening through the hub, so you don't have to remove the blades, which is music to my ears because Lakewood to me are the most difficult blades to get off. In my experience, I really struggle with that. So that is really nice for this. So we're just gonna do a quick test. Do low. Very typical low sounding low or Low for these big Lakewoods. Do medium. And as I talked about earlier in this video, this fan, it's in good shape. This side of the grill is great. Clearly this was used in a window wherever it was used in early in its life, so there's some yellowing. But the slats are in good shape. I explained the story on the back side with the slats, the deal there, and the yellowing. Cabinet is in good shape, not great shape, so you don't mind actually putting this fan into service. I wouldn't, and I won't stick it in a window. Yeah, I'll stick it in a window, but I won't leave it there the entire summer for the sun to beat on it. So let's do high. Oh yeah. Roll guys sounding good. Moving a lot of air. And spin down. These fans, if you just keep them somewhat clean and a few dabs of oil here and there, they will last for generations. That's nice spin down. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Maybe this was useful, or maybe it was just fun to watch if you're into fans like we are. Make sure you check out the channel if you like box fans, because we got them all over the place. See you next time.